So about Yu Yu Hakusho, about almost a month ago, I made a video about Yu Yu Hakusho. I just started the series at the time, and I wanted to give my initial impressions on the show. At the time, I was around episode 10ish, so still very early on in the series. I was planning to make a follow-up video, but I ended up not watching that many other episodes after I made that video. I even mentioned it in a future video. After the initial impressions, I said I was taking a break from the show and was more interested in another series. I'm pretty sure it was the 86 video. I was still planning on making that follow-up video later down the line, but it would end up taking a longer time than what I was expecting. At that point, I was probably around episode 12 to 15, where I last remember, it was in the fighting stage of the first tournament in the series, with all the people trying to win to become the people of that master that ran the dojo. I mean, Yusuke's priority was finding the lurking yokai who was trying to steal the master's secrets, but he was also trying to win the tournament to start training his spiritual powers. Ever since then though, I've not picked up the series back up, and right now it's not really for any reason in particular. Back then I had a legitimate reason that made me not want to watch it. I was more interested in another series, so I left Yu Yu Hakusho on pause for the moment, but I had intentions of picking it back up whenever I finished the other series I was more interested in. Now though I really have no reason for not watching it. I'm not watching any animes currently, and I'm not reading anything. Besides the weekly mangas and animes that come out, there's no anime that I'm watching right now. Usually I always have one anime that I'm watching that's already completed to watch while the weekly series have their cycles go through. It's the first time in a while that I've not been watching that much anime. I'm picking up more movies now than actual series. I've only watched probably only a dozen or so anime films, and a good chunk of those are shonen movies, like One Piece or Dragon Ball. Those are cool, but I mean like standalone movies. Those are more like the blockbuster anime movies. I don't watch too many anime movies, but there have been a few that I've been meaning to watch, so I'm watching mostly those right now. If you have any you would recommend to let me know. Bubble just released recently too, and the trailer looked pretty good, so that's probably what I'll watch next. But yeah, I just haven't really been feeling like watching Yu Yu Hakusho since that update I made about it. I don't know what there is to it, I just don't feel like watching it at the moment, and I don't want to force myself to watch it, since that will probably just make me dislike the series if anything. I'm pretty sure Yu Yu Hakusho is a good show. It has to be at least somewhat decent, with how many people like it, but I just don't have the motivation to watch it for some reason. I'll probably just drop it to be honest. Right now I don't feel motivated or interested in the series. I say drop, but I might end up coming back to it at some point. It's just that it doesn't feel like that will be anytime soon. It's pretty rare for me to drop shows like that. I can only really think of one other show that I did not like. It was a football anime, I'm pretty sure. I don't even remember the name of it. This was a few years ago. It wasn't that it was necessarily bad, but it felt like it had a heavy inspiration from Haikyuu, but with a bad execution. It didn't get interesting for me at all, so I just dropped the show entirely. Yu Yu Hakusho will be the first show I acknowledge is good, but I have no intentions of watching it. Like how you see people admit to saying One Piece is a good series, but they themselves don't plan on getting into it, usually because of the fact that it's really long. Except in my case, there's not really a reason that's stopping me from watching it. If you were about to make a whole argument that Yu Yu Hakusho is really good and worth watching, you won't have to. I don't doubt that the series is good, I just don't feel like watching it. If you think there's a scene later on that you're pretty confident will make me want to watch this series, you can mention it in the comments if you want to. The beginning right now is not bad, but it isn't really exciting for me. The start of Yu Yu Hakusho is pretty comparable to Hunter x Hunter honestly. For Hunter x Hunter, the start is pretty slow compared to the pace it goes at later on. It's pretty tame for the most part, mostly just trying to get us settled into the world, but I personally found it pretty entertaining. Definitely more than how I feel about Yu Yu Hakusho right now. It teased us every now and then about the world, and gave us little details for what is going to be relevant later. One obvious one is being Kurapika's eyes. It was kinda mentioned offhandedly in the first episode, when Gon first meets him, but it ends up turning into a pretty important detail in the Yorknu arc. The way Hunter x Hunter executed its start is way better in my opinion. I can't really speak for the rest of Yu Yu Hakusho, since I haven't seen it yet, but so far, I haven't had that moment yet that really sucks me into the series. That's pretty much all I had to say though. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for future content. Peace.